realistically, Mike, what free agent quarterbacks are we looking at there that can really come in and start for a team, right? Right? I mean, I know we got Aaron Rodgers out there. I'm going to say at the end of the day, it's Green Bay or retire. All right, so I'm going to just cancel him out right now. And he's, I don't think, going to be in any of these teams in the top 10, so who cares, right? I think it's Jets or Packers at this point. But then, like, you got, I know Lamar's a free agent, but I mean, he's not a real free agent, not that way. Geno, okay. I have a hard time thinking Seattle's just going to let him out the door right now. Daniel Jones, not really. I don't think that's happening either. So now you're down to what? Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, and another guy that's kind of forgotten in this conversation is Baker Mayfield. And I don't know if anybody's going to have the guts to make him a starter there, but yeah, we're getting here to limited options and some teams here who have already gone like we've, the old-timer, let's try a new quarterback and see if we can make it happen, Carolina and Indy. I have a hard time thinking that, they necessarily want to do that all the way. So that's where, I think this could get very interesting.
But just the fact that we've got Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, Geno Smith potentially.
Yeah.
This never happened. Teams would never let a guy go who was able to play, who was able to just check the box of, can you be an NFL quarterback?
Right.
It didn't happen. And Baker Mayfield, to me, is very compelling because I think that the Raiders are a potential destination, that
Sure.
Josh McDaniels connection. Josh McDaniels experienced what Baker Mayfield can do on 2 days prep in Sean McVay's offense. The magic that you can harness, if you can just get the planets to line up just right, what Baker Mayfield can bring to a team. And again, there was always that affinity there between McDaniels and Mayfield.
Right.
But again, that still is going to, Carr's going to land somewhere, and that's going to factor into the top 10. Geno Smith is either going to sign a ridiculous deal that makes it clear he's there indefinitely, or it's going to be something that feels like a Band-Aid. That's the other thing, too. There'll be quarterback movement that we know is just a placeholder until that team drafts the next guy. We saw it last year when Mitchell Trubisky signed with the Steelers, and the Steelers successfully created the vibe of, yeah, Trubisky's our quarterback. No, we don't feel compelled to draft a guy, and no one jumped them for Kenny Pickett, which is still amazing to me that they were able to get Kenny Pickett without moving up because everybody knew. It's like every year. We knew they were getting Najee Harris. They got Najee Harris. We knew they were getting Kenny Pickett. They got Kenny Pickett. But there will be a team like that signs a guy, and it feels like he's the starter, but there's still enough there of an opening where they're going to go ahead and draft a guy. And that's why the Seahawks, I think what Pete Carroll said the other day about being in this rare position to draft a quarterback.
You think he's...
I just think...
Yeah, he's trying to get a market.
Like, hey, look. Trade down.
Right.
He's looking to trade down.
I'm with you, Mike, there. I was just about to kind of go there. The Seahawks are another team that you look at, they go, yeah, they're kind of sitting in a good position too. They're right there. You don't have to give up the total farm to get to number 5, but hey, if you're a team that I would, Raiders, Falcons, Panthers, I'd be a little worried sitting there at 7, 8.
Falcons, Panthers, same division. Falcons, Panthers, it's great. Just like Texans, Colts, it's great.
Right.
8-9, Falcons, Panthers. You may be able to stir something up there and one of them jumps up.
Exactly right. So you got teams there that, certainly are going to be in that conversation. And yeah, I'm with you in the fact that, again, I'm not putting it out of the realm, but I have that same feel. You got Geno, who is a young, 32? He's a young 32. There's not a lot of wear and tear in his tires. He played phenomenal football. He's got all the ability to be the starting quarterback. What was he, the number 2 rated? I know I'm not all about rating, but number 2 rated quarterback in football with not a great offensive line that was young, that'll be better this year. Damn. I don't know. I just wouldn't throw that overboard right now. Geno's the type of guy with the way he's kept in shape, the way he throws the football, that his skills aren't going anywhere. He's going to be damn good for the next 2, 3, 4 years. So, that's where I'm with you, Mike. I am. And, that's where it does get interesting in that 7, 8, 9 range. And, you talk about the Falcons at 8 a little bit. They're still a team that I don't know. I still look at and to go, man, will they think about maybe trading for Lamar Jackson, doing something like that if the Ravens and Lamar can't come to some deal at some point? I just feel like that's kind of a match made in heaven to a degree. So there's a lot of things that can go on here to affect this top 10 and how this whole quarterback thing plays out.
I was talking to somebody from the Atlanta media yesterday, and the conversation went like this. Arthur Blank is 82, and he wants to win.
Right.
So
right.
The Lamar Jackson thing could be. And you've been talking about it for a while. It could make a lot of sense for the Falcons to try to make that play if Lamar Jackson and the Ravens don't get something worked out in the next 5 days. And I'll be stunned. They've had 2 years to work something out, and they haven't.
Would you really be stunned?
What the hell is going to happen in the next 5 days?
Yeah.
If they do a deal?
Oh, yeah. You would be stunned if they do a deal, right? Yeah. Or you're saying you'd be stunned if they... Yeah, okay. I thought you were saying you'd be stunned if they didn't do a deal. I was surprised.
God, no.
I know.
I mean, and again, look, at some point he's got to do a deal with someone.
Yeah.
That's kind of the... And this is where an agent would be useful. And if I was 25 trying to navigate my life and understand these $250 million contracts, I'd need somebody to say to me at some point, dude, at some point you have to do a deal with someone.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, do I want to do a deal with the team I played for, or do I want to do a deal with someone else? But I have to do a deal at some point. At some point I have to say yes to what's behind door number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And so I don't rule it out.
Right.
But
it's hard.
But I don't know how they get from here to there.
Yeah.
I don't know how they finish a deal in the next 5 days, given the struggles they've had to even engage in the most basic negotiation in 2 years.
Yeah, agreed. I'm with you there. I don't know where that's going to go. And, I think you and I are both frustrated because we're Lamar fans. We want the best for him there. And, yeah, the Atlanta thing, what you said about Arthur.
I want the best for any guy who's won an MVP. He won an MVP in his second NFL season.
Yeah.
I want him to get everything he deserves, both on field and off field.
Yeah.
I wanted to make every penny he can because that money's out there.
Yeah.
And it's going to the best players. And the players who have emerged as the best should be getting it. It's fair if it happens that way, and it's unfair if it doesn't. We're not going to go back down the shoe deal rabbit hole just now. That created a storm of something other than rain the other day. But ask yourself this, folks.
Yeah.
Anyone out there that reacted to the clip that made the rounds?
Right.
And Lamar Jackson reacted to that clip.
Right.
Right. Okay. Anybody out there that has something to say? Anybody out there that wants to chime in that's in the media or elsewhere? Ask yourself this. Who does Lamar Jackson have endorsements with?
Right.
What's his MVP in his second season? What commercials have you ever seen him in?
Right. That kind of says it all, right,
What
Mike?
ads have you ever seen him in?
Right.
What deals does he have?
I know.
Right?
I know.
The proof's out there.
Right.
Folks.
Right.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Who's the face of the NFL for the Jordan brand? Is it Lamar Jackson or is it Dak Prescott? Who is it? And who's the MVP and who isn't? So the proof is there, okay? Don't rely on a clip from us and a retweet from Lamar. Rely on what's out there and what's not out there.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure that made Lamar mad or whatever. And again, I hope Lamar knows that I'm one of his biggest fans. We both are. He's been disrespectful.
Hey, I'd be mad too. I'd be mad too if I was the MVP of the league and I didn't have my long-term contract and I didn't have any obvious major endorsement deals. I'd be mad too because I've earned it.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And, it really doesn't. And again, going back to Lamar and all the things you talked about there too with Atlanta, they're just Atlanta, the style of football they want to play is Lamar Jackson-ish. I mean, we know what they want to do there. They want to play Tennessee football. What we've seen with the Titans the last few years. They want to run the ball, play defense, play action pass, run the ball again, bootlegs, quarterback design, run with Lamar Jackson. And I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased or whatever else, Mike, because, one, as we've discussed, hey, Atlanta, one of the top African-American cities in our country, to have an African-American quarterback, there's value there. And I witnessed it. I've witnessed it. I've been in that stadium a few times when Michael Vick was the starting quarterback and a few times when he's not. And let me tell you, the damn stadium is a whole lot different when Michael Vick was the starting quarterback. It was one of the most unbelievable environments you could imagine. It was awesome. It really was. It was electricity in that stadium when Michael Vick was playing there. And like Lamar Jackson can reignite that right there and be that type of guy for that city and that franchise. So I could see Arthur thinking about that. And like you said, it's 82 years old.
Both Arthurs.
But yeah, right. Both Arthurs. Well, that's the other thing I do think about. The Arthur, the owner, I can picture liking it. Arthur Smith, the coach, I wonder. I know he likes the player, right? I'm sure he likes the player. Who doesn't like the player? But how much will him and Terry Fontenot want to trade away assets and do all those things to get the player? Because I do feel like Fontenot and Arthur Smith are guys that are like, like we always talk about, let's build a team, right? Let's do that. They both came from that type of things. Not, hey, let's get the quarterback and, if he can't carry us, then we're not going to do it. Those are those type of guys. So that's the one thing that kind of gives me trepidation. But, it's interesting. And this Lamar thing is crazy, along with Aaron Rodgers. And then you got Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo sitting out there too. It's pretty fascinating.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.